I'm Savannah Pratt, and for the next half hour, we are going to take you to what is considered the most diverse square mile in America. We will meet with refugees that have overcome extreme odds to achieve the American dream. And we will learn how they are giving back to the community that welcomed them.
But the best thing that happened to me ever is washing dishes, because I never want to be that again. I told myself, for every dish I wash, I will read a page of a book so I can learn better English.
I know no person's story is the same. What they've done with that trauma is turn it into a resolve to work hard and a resolve to give back.
While you are taking this cup of coffee, we are trying to build a family.
We've been receiving refugees for the last 35 years. And over the years, we've been the Ellis Island of the South, really for refugees, their entry point into America.
From war-torn countries, they have traveled across the globe to find refuge in Georgia. The first person you're about to meet is a Syrian refugee that came to Clarkston as a teenage boy. After arriving, he found inspiration to follow his dreams.
We fled oppression in Syria in 1996. My father was a lawyer. We went to Germany, lived there for 6 years in different camps. We weren't allowed to stay, so the next thing was offered to us to come to the US. And we arrived to Clarkston, Georgia, right after 9/11. It was a difficult time because we were scared how we would be welcomed in this country. While sitting in our little apartment in Clarkston, Georgia, people knocked on our door and we looked outside. We see these about maybe 10 to 12 people, like a bunch of older white women and men standing there. We thought first they're part of the CIA or the FBI. And they came to our house and said, hey, we're part of All Saints Episcopal Church and we heard about you guys and we came to welcome you. They walked in the house, brought us new furniture. We shared a meal together, and I thought this is powerful, for a Christian church to welcome a Muslim family right after 9/11. And I never forget that. As I thought my life was having new hope, my father got sick, he couldn't work. My mom couldn't find a job wearing the hijab and not speaking English. My brother was 14, so me as an 18 years old high school senior who doesn't speak English had to find a job. So our first job was washing dishes in a restaurant, maybe 30, 40 hours a week, right after school or weekends. The interesting part is the restaurant is 1 block across from Emory University. So washing dishes became a motivation to be successful. While I was watching these doctors coming, getting their sandwiches at the restaurant, and I'm washing the dishes, I'd say, I want to be like them. So if I wash 300 dishes that week, I will read 300 pages of any kind of book. People's Magazine, Anne Frank's diary, whatever I get my hand on. And that's how I learned English to go to college. I knew I had to take the SAT and pass all the graduation tests, and I knew I have to be an excellent reader and I read English really well, and then work on my writing, then my speaking. So, I ended up at Georgia State University, and then I went from Georgia State to Morehouse School of Medicine, and then from Morehouse I went to Emory for my residency.
Nearly 5 years ago, Leon arrived as a refugee from the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Now he is giving back to other refugees through a simple cup of coffee.
People who knows coffee, they always appreciate our coffee. We don't want to give our customer a poor product. We need to give them a good quality coffee. That's what we are doing, to keep also our customer who come to visit Refugee Coffee to feel happy. I feel that I'm giving back to community because while I'm here, I'm working here, we get so many refugees who just arrive. They need help, they need some information, and then when they came here, they get help.
Leon enjoys mentoring refugees at Refuge Coffee. And this coffee truck in Clarkston, Georgia was founded by Kitty Murray, and its baristas consist of refugees from 5 different countries.
Cappuccino?
Deciding to put a coffee shop in Clarkston is a multi-layered idea. When my husband and I first moved here, we got to know people in the community. My initial thought when I noticed there wasn't that third environment coffee shop was that why would we do this? Our primary mission, it's on the truck, it's stamped on the sleeves. It's as you enjoy this drink, you are providing a living wage job quality job training, and mentorship for a refugee who lives right here in Atlanta's own backyard. That was what was behind wanting to open a coffee shop, because a coffee shop is a place to do that. When we first started, we were up on the street 2 days a week for about 6 months, and I think we were 3 months in, and we counted the number of countries represented by the customers who had come, and it was over 50. And also a business that employed refugees and paid them a living wage and gave them job training, that was essential to the community. So all of those things together meant that it was just something we wanted to do.
What simply started as opening a coffee shop to provide job training for refugees in Clarkston, Georgia, birthed more ideas to make an impact in the community.
One is to create a multi-ethnic gathering place that's agendaless and safe, and where people can kind of cross-pollinate cultures. And you can't have a stereotype about a person you know. We feel like we try to be stereotype busters. And then the third mission has kind of evolved, but that's to tell a more accurate, more beautiful refugee story to the rest of Atlanta and even beyond. Killer customer service and really good coffee is just a good message.
Yes, we do.
There are over 60 languages spoken in Clarkston, Georgia. So we sat down with Mayor Ted Terry to learn why he is so passionate about refugee resettlement.
The average refugee is in a camp for almost 17 years. And so it's a long, long wait. And if you do get selected for refugee resettlement, it's like winning the lottery. The diversity of our religions and languages and cultures actually has been an asset, a strength for Clarkston. And so if you come to Clarkston, it kind of looks like a town from the 1970s in terms of infrastructure, a lot of old buildings, but a relatively peaceful, safe community, one of the 50 safest cities in Georgia, which is why I want to encourage people to visit Clarkston. Because, where else, at least, in Metro Atlanta or, in Georgia, where else in Georgia and in Metro Atlanta can you go to one city and be able to go to a Himalayan restaurant, Ethiopian, Eritrean, Somali, Bhutanese, Congolese, experience all these cultures, religions, languages, foods, music, and dance, all in one single place.
In the middle of a growing refugee crisis, GSU hosts a global international summit where we meet with local and international officials to discuss the refugee crisis and how to help refugees assimilate into new cultures, in hopes that one day the refugee crisis will be eradicated.
Because what we can observe is that when you have a direct interaction with migrants or refugees, your empathy, your understanding of their human reality makes you, let's say, close to them and open up to those new cultures and really see those people as assets for our societies. Whereas when you just fear them because you don't meet with those people at any point, then it's just a pure fantasy.
And I think there's a concern that refugees are bringing some sort of foreign culture that is going to change America's culture in some sort of perverse way. And I think the reality in Clarkston is, that we celebrate the 4th of July. I speak at the Ramadan, but that does not diminish our Christmas celebration, Memorial Day, Labor Day. So, it's more of a layering on of different experiences and cultures, which I think enriches Clarkston.
As the influx of refugees into Greece increases, the ambassador of Greece sits down with us to provide insight on the actions taking place to help refugees and to eradicate the crisis.
Well, I think that the international response to this migration crisis, which my country and our continent has faced, has been quite impressive. We've seen many civil society organizations, NGOs, actually making the difference in cases where the governments, the countries were not able to cope 100% with the influx of people. What we can also do is to educate the populations in our countries about the real nature of this phenomenon.
Now, Dr. Haval Kelly is a cardiology fellow at Emory University. He has started the Young Physicians Initiative in order to inspire high school students to pursue a career in medicine.
The reason why I picked up cardiology because it's the #1 cause of death in the world, but it's also preventable. So heart disease is preventable. So it's important to find time to invest in the community, and I tell people that I need to inspire others to go into the field, and by doing that is through mentorship and role modeling. I had Dr. Latouf who reached out to me when I was in Georgia State. He's a heart surgeon, and he asked to help me, and I've realized if I could create that same experience for a lot of people, I will create more people like me and him. So I started the Young Physician Initiative. That is a program that motivates high school students to go into medicine by bringing medical students and interact with them, doing medical cases, talking about medicine. I think role modeling is very important. If you're present in the community, you can't expect the poor kids who live in a poor neighborhood one day to wake up and say, I want to be a doctor. They have to see that in their community to be inspired. And I take about a few hours a month to do that. So it's not much, but these kids are inspired. So they see a physician and med students hanging out in their classroom. They feel like maybe I could be that one.
I originally met Dr. Kelly through his UBeyond conference mentorship. I actually got him as a mentor. So I got to work relatively close with him. We got to have lunch a few times, just pretty much talk about, where I want to go. I mean, I think he's great. He's very helpful when it comes to guiding his mentees. He's definitely given me a lot of insight onto what I want to do. I like neurology just because it's I guess complicated. It kind of explains how people work. It's the clockwork behind personality and people.
Becoming a doctor or a journalist or a lawyer is something you can follow the rules and you can be that one day.
Dr. Kelly recognized that the American dream was attainable for anyone who is willing to work hard enough to attain it. Dr. Kelly attributes much of his success to mentors and the people that poured into his family when they first arrived in America. Because of this outpouring of encouragement, he now pours into refugees and Americans so that they too can have the American dream.
Yeah, our Young Physician Initiative sessions are pretty simple ideas. We do it once a month for 1 hour after school. We get a group of high school seniors and we do medical cases. We learn about how to apply to med school. They learn exactly how to become a doctor from a perspective of diagnosis and curiosity. Because I think that's what makes it fun to solve a problem. And that inspires them to learn about the true essence of medicine, in addition to helping people. So we provide them the tools and resources, and when they go to college the next year, they have the knowledge and the pathway to achieve their dream if they want to still pursue a career in medicine. I think we keep the sessions and the groups small because we want to create that teamwork, which is one of the purposes of medicine, working together, using your knowledge, writing things, interaction. We encourage people to speak up and say what they think. That's important. So YPI's mission is to make people believe that they could achieve what they want, and our focus is we want people, if they want to be doctors or physicians, they could achieve that and they could believe in themselves, and here are the tools and why is it becoming a doctor is important. But it's based on the concept is, we all saw someone when we were kids in high school that, wow, I want to be like him. And the reason why you said you want to be like him because they were in your school. Maybe they came to speak, maybe they did something. But that's why being present in the community is very important. I mean, I don't live in Clarkston, but I'm always in Clarkston. So I come back to my community and serve where I started.
Dr. Kelly is an incredible human being. I've read about his stories and how he came here as a refugee, worked really, really hard, and just thrived in academia at the same time while adjusting to the United States as a refugee. So that in itself is amazing. But even as a fellow and as a doctor, he's so involved in the community. He started these programs at these high schools. Not your average doctor would kind of say that they don't have time for it, but Dr. Kelly makes time. He's so involved, and he's really involved with us medical students at the school as well. So he's reaching students from the high school level all the way through med school and doing a lot of community work as well. So he is just so involved in everything and really giving back to the community.
I mean, I think it's a true example of success through struggle. He's obviously worked very hard to get where he is now today, and it seems like he's very thankful that he's had the opportunities and he's achieved where he has. I just think it's awesome that he's taking some time out to help, high schoolers try to figure out their path, certain things like that. I think it's crucial to our success.
Julia is a medical student at Emory University, and now she will be heading up one of the YPI programs with Dr. Kelly.
So I got involved with YPI because I knew Dr. Kelly through the Emory Refugee Medical Alliance. That's an organization I'm part of, and Dr. Kelly, being a refugee, was super instrumental in all the events that we run at the School of Medicine. And so I got to know him and the programs that he's been starting in the community. And that's something that I wanted to be involved in when I came to medical school. I wanted to, be in academia at the med school, but also be involved in the community. So I was looking for programs like this where I could, use what I am learning at med school and just apply it in the community.
While Dr. Kelly and his YPI team use medicine and education to give back to the community, Leon and Kitty use a coffee shop to gather a community so refugees can learn English and learn how to assimilate to the American culture.
When you come here in America without a word of English, it's not easy. It's not easy to find a way. You want to go somewhere, you want to go to the clinic, you want to go to any appointment, you need somebody who wanna be with you because you don't have a word. Now, in that time, you are not free. You need somebody to translate you. Now, Refugee Coffee, we are trying, at the same time these people, they are getting job training, we are teaching them English. According to my own perception, if you are not able to express yourself in English here in this country, you are not yet free. You need to have at least a word in English to set yourself free.
Leon desires for all refugees to have the same freedom that he has by speaking the English language. That's why he works hard to teach them so they can learn English too.
You can't find that kind of different cultures in other places in America except in Clarkston. We are the most diverse place in America. This is Clarkston. Now, that is the richest we have. We are multicultural. Look at even the pictures we have in the wall. You can find some that was made by the people from South Sudan, other from Burundi, other from Ethiopia, Congo, other by the Americans, because we are multicultural. An American born to come to Refugee Coffee, I think is very, 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 very good thing to come. It's a good experience because when they come to visit Refugee Coffee, they will learn different things. They will learn different things from where they come from and here. Because when you are here in Refugee Coffee, we learn so many things from different cultures, from different backgrounds. And then when you came here, you have your cup of coffee here. It's not only a cup of coffee, but you learn so many things.
We traveled to Clarkston, Georgia to be a part of the Refuge Coffee 5K run. We witnessed people from all walks of life showing up in droves to be a part and support their refugee community. T-shirts were passed out by volunteers, children played games, and runners warmed up before the race. People from the four corners of the world lined up to run the race together. Meanwhile, Mayor Ted Terry offered some running advice to Syrian refugees.
So this is Mohammed and Mahir, and you've been in America for a year and 1 month? Yeah, they came from Syria. And so they're Clarkston residents. And this is Rian. Wave at the camera, Rian. This is her second year running in the 1 mile fun run. You did awesome. And then Y'all both ran last year. Okay. What time did y'all get last year? Okay. All right. So you got to do better this year. All right. So the key is take it easy the first mile, you pick it up the second mile, and then you sprint the third mile.
Then it was off to the races. The crowd stood cheering as the over 800 runners raced to the finish line.
Finishing strong, I like it.
After the Refuge Coffee 5K race, the festivities continued with Clarkston's Culture Festival, where women danced flamenco, art showcased the diverse cultures, and the smell of food filled the air. The Refuge Coffee 5K race and the Clarkston Culture Festival showcased a community of different cultures, races, and backgrounds coming together with no agenda other than to be present and support one another.
I feel very privileged to live life in a refugee community. And maybe I should correct that, in a community that is a mix of refugees and Americans, because that's what this community is.
I think if you want to change the world, to be present in a community, ask people what they need and address those needs. The reason why I work primarily with refugees and immigrants, because I'm a refugee myself, I have a belief that if I could help someone who, from a low socioeconomic status and doesn't speak English, I could help the entire country. Life is tough in America when you come here. I mean, any country is, is new language, new culture, no friends, no family. It's very tough, but there is something about America that's different than anywhere else. There's a way here you become something one day. I was washing dishes as a high school senior for some of the doctors that I probably work with right now. Maybe some of the people who came ate at the restaurant, they're my patient now at Emory Clinic. So that's what America's about, you just gotta work hard, and maybe you find yourself a little game I did with my dishes to learn English, you find something else, Like Einstein say, you find opportunities in every challenge. Oh, I still have way more to go. When I look back on my story and feel like, first of all, I tell people I'm a very slow walker because I walked like 10 years for one block to make it where I am today. But the more I achieve when I use that for helping more people. So when I get on the media, when I get opportunity to speak, my goal is to inspire refugees for a better life and inspire America to invest in refugee and immigrants and minorities, for them to have a better life. The reason why I work in a community and I'm trying to help as much as I can, because I'm trying to show to my fellow Americans that refugees and immigrants are an investment in our country. When you see a refugee or an immigrant, I don't want you to see victims, I want you to see opportunities and investment in our country. And that changes minds. Because when you victimize someone in any group, you're just helping them to get by. When you think of someone as the next doctor or journalist or lawyer, then you're going to invest your time in them to make them to be that. And that's what people did for me. If you tell that church group 15 years ago that if you help this family, you'll have a surgeon, which is my brother, and have a cardiologist 15 years later, they might not think of that, but now I provide my story and my brother's story as a role model for that.
I think it's important to help people because people need people. In the end of the day, refugees are just people from a different place who are trying to live their lives in a new place. A lot of them have fled certain things that are horrible. So I think it's just important to embrace them and show them that we care and we love them. They're welcome.
Clarkston is a small city, maybe poor in terms of money, but we are rich in culture.
People who live here who are not refugees are welcoming people. So, that synergy that's happening in this community, it's pretty miraculous.
I think refugees add so much to our community. They bring a lot of culture, they bring so many interesting languages and incredible stories and challenges that they've been through.
And everyone's kept saying, you achieved the American dream, you went from a dishwasher to a doctor. I said to them, achieved my dream, but what makes an American is recreating the dream for everyone else. That's the American dream.
People gathered around a map of our world to take a picture, a string, and a drop pin to reveal where they are from. Pins and colored strings stretched across the surface of the map. In the process of each person placing their picture on the map, it painted a beautiful portrait, showing us that even though our world is large, Clarkston makes our world feel a little bit smaller. Clarkston is an example of a vibrant and thriving community where refugees and Americans live together. As we've seen, these refugees are giving back to their community, and they are thankful for the American dream. Clarkston is a community where refugees are welcome.